What's going on, YouTube? So over the last decade, we've all been witnessing firsthand a shift towards crossovers over sedans. That means buyers that previously would have chosen an Accord or Civic are increasingly choosing the CUV counterparts, like CR-V and HR-V. Both these popular crossovers are all new for 2023 and are grabbing a lot of attention from families all over the US. But that begs the question, which of these two Hondas is the best choice? And is the CR-V worth the extra money? Well, that's what we're about to find out. So to get things established here, let's quickly talk about how the pricing stacks up. Starting with the HR-V, we have the fully loaded model, which this year is the EXL. Honda never has any option packages, so after the $395 paint and the destination charge, the total is $30,590. Keeping things equivalent, we also have the EXL trim level on the all-new CR-V, which is the highest non-hybrid trim. As you'd expect, this larger vehicle does carry a larger price tag, $36,505 after destination. That places our price difference at just under $6,000, which is something we will revisit later on in the value section of the video. But let's go ahead and jump right into the exterior first. So when you walk up to these two, you might not even notice that they are siblings at first. Unlike some automakers that use the same basic design in different sizes, Honda has given the HR-V and the CR-V distinctly different looks. The HR-V is more rounded and soft looking, while the CR-V is more aggressive and boxier, especially up front. Outside of the grills, both have full LED headlights with LED daytime running lights and turn signals, and neither of them have fog lamps. Continuing to the sides, both models have grown for their new generations, but it's the HR-V that has had the more substantial growth spurt of nearly 9 inches. That puts them relatively close in terms of overall length. The side designs are punctuated by 17 and 18-inch alloys in the HR-V and CR-V respectively. Even though the CR-V's rims are larger, I'll cancel out that point because the HR-V's have a nice contrasting design. Both of them have black cladding around the lower elements of the vehicles, but it's finished in a more premium gloss black on the HR-V. And as far as the back, the same design themes from the front repeat, so of course, preference here comes down to personal taste. But as far as the features are concerned, both have exposed wipers, hidden exhaust outlets, and mostly LED taillight units. The exception here is the incandescent turn signal in the CR-V instead of LED like it is in the HR-V. Now checking out some of the individual odd and end features, both of their mirrors have heating and blind spot monitoring. And both models come standard with Honda's entire safety suite no matter which trim you choose. That includes full speed adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, and auto high beam headlights. And the last thing I want to mention is the warranty. Of course, they are the same from the same car company, but I do want to mention the new complimentary maintenance that both will enjoy for 2 years and 24,000 miles. But anyway, that concludes the outside, so now let's head inside the cabins before we take them out on the road. So approaching both Hondas, you will find smart entry systems and the newest key fob with remote start. Now once we open up the doors, you'll see some common design themes to tie the company's cars together, but also many differences. Starting by talking about the seats themselves, both have 8 ways of power adjustment, heating, and leather, since that's what the L in EXL stands for. The only difference is that the CR-V has 2-person memory. Once inside the cabins, we can check out the broad category of material quality. By and large, they are similar, especially in regard to the signature solidity that all Hondas always have. But I'm pretty surprised to report that it's actually the HR-V that feels a bit more special, since a lot of its dash and center console are covered with leatherette and stitching details. The CR-V, by comparison, is just using soft and hard-touch plastic in those areas. Once you fire the two crossovers up, you find exactly the same half-digital and half-analog gauge cluster. Neither of them offer a head-up display. Additionally, the steering wheels are exactly the same. But moving on to the important aspect of interior storage, we have a lot of differences. The HR-V is using a unique console design to maximize utility, with a pass-through as well as a front storage area with cup holders. While that is probably the most storage in the class, the CR-V's larger size category still prevails here, with an enormous center console, super deep cup holders, and a huge front bin. Taking a look at the shifters next, both are sticking with traditional ones. And once in reverse, both have regular multi-view backup cameras with active trajectory and parking sensors. Behind the shifters are electronic parking brakes. Moving up the dashboard, both have dual-zone automatic climate controls with identical knobs. And they also have very similar audio systems. Honda hasn't released the exact speaker count for the CR-V EXL's audio system, but it sounds pretty much the same as the HR-V's unbranded 8-speaker sound system. I won't spend much time on the infotainment systems because they are both rocking identical ones. That's going to be a 9-inch touchscreen with the normal Honda Link software, and most importantly, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Wrapping up the front of the cabins, both have auto-dimming mirrors and standard-sized sunroofs. As of now, a panoramic roof is not available on any trim of either model. Now heading around to the rear, here is where things start to get more interesting with the differing sizes. Even though HR-V has grown more than CR-V generation to generation, the CR-V was already extremely large for its class, and grows a bit more this year. Because of that, you'll find over 8% more legroom. As far as the features back here, the CR-V is equipped somewhat more luxuriously. While the HR-V is basically just seats, the CR-V includes rear air vents, seats that recline, and a fold-down armrest with cup holders. Neither of them, though, have available heated seats. Moving out back, CR-V includes a power tailgate, and once it opens up, you'll find a lot more space in the CR-V. This is probably the biggest single advantage of choosing a CR-V over the HR-V, because an additional 21 cubic feet of space is a lot of extra space to work with. Alright, we're done with the interiors now, so let's take them out for a drive and see how they compare there. So hitting the road with the Honda siblings, you're probably assuming they are mostly similar, but that's not really the case. Under the hood, we have two distinct power plants, a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder in the HR-V, and a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder in the CR-V. That means the CR-V is going to have a sizable advantage when it comes to horsepower and torque. And as expected, it does accelerate faster. Alright, so that was taking us up to about 60 miles per hour there. Not too bad. So of course, as you know by this point in the video, this is the standard gas-powered option. The hybrid will be going on sale later on in the year, and we should be able to drive that hopefully in probably a month or two. But as far as today, with the 1.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder, power feels pretty good. It's going to be 190 horsepower, 179 pound-feet of torque. which is exactly the same as the outgoing generation. Okay, so there we are. We made it to 60. We were going a little bit up a hill.
Yeah, that slightly
to be
unfair,
fair, we were going up a hill. Obviously, not the fastest machine out there, but in this category, you know, not everything is not fast, obviously.
Right.
And importantly, we do have more power on board than the outgoing generation, which was very, very slow. 158 horsepower, 138 pound-feet of torque now from a upgraded 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. If you remember, the outgoing generation had a 1.8-liter 4-cylinder engine, and this is going to be up 17 horsepower. So
and 11 pound-feet of torque. Yeah. So it's
decent
overall a pretty solid improvement for this all-new HRV.
As you could see from that clip, neither of them are quick. But the HRV is slow even for its segment, with a 0 to 60 of about 10 seconds. Okay, so that was more flat terrain, to give you guys a little bit of a more fair picture of that 0 to 60 time. Nevertheless, transmission-wise, they are both rocking CVTs. Honda has tuned them to be nice and responsive, and they have shift simulations for less drone than before. Right. And the other thing I want to talk about is, of course, the continuously variable transmission. So the last gen did have a CVT, but importantly with this new model, as you saw, it does have a shift simulation. Gives it a more, you know, traditional feel. Doesn't drone as much like the old one did when you were full throttle. It just kind of, you know, varies the RPMs, make it sound a little less strained. There's our auto start stop system at work. Really nice and
really
smooth.
Yeah,
I think they've improved that as well for this new generation.
Nice.
So that's another thing I want to talk about, and that would be your transmission. So of course you do have a continuously variable transmission, as you'd probably expect. But one of the things that Honda has done is kind of update the shift simulation. So as you can tell, it is doing a simulated shift, which I think makes it feel more like a traditional CVT. And beyond that part of the experience, which of course, you know, makes it feel more traditional, like I was saying, you also have just the general responsiveness, which feels quite good. You put your foot down, you don't have to wait too long. So they've done a good job of tuning this combination of the turbo as well as the CVT. Now, as far as other driving characteristics, neither of them is angling to be sporty, but they also have certain Honda DNA baked into them. What I mean by that is that they have nice balance, solid feels to them, and quick steering. So I think we're getting ready to go into the twisty bits of this drive, and I'll be able to talk to you guys about the improved driving dynamics. So of course, as you already know at this point, we've moved to a new architecture for this HRV, one that is essentially, you know, shared with the Honda Civic, which is a great foundation. The previous generation was shared with a Honda Fit, so we do have, you know, definitely some improvements on board in that regard. So let's kind of throw us through some corners here and test it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah, you can definitely feel some similarities to like a Honda Civic. Of course, those are very great handling, and this is going to be a lot taller than that. But maybe it kind of feels a little bit like a taller Honda Civic hatchback in that regard. Now, another thing that's been updated or changed is the fact that we have a 15% stiffer body on board. And, you know, that does make this CRV feel more fun to drive behind the wheel. So right now we're just kind of in the standard drive mode. And, of course, this is not going to transform the CRV into a Civic Type R by any means. But I will say it does feel pretty balanced. Now on the highway, sound insulation is important. As expected, the larger and more expensive vehicle does better in this regard, and also better than the previous generation.
55.2 decibels is what we're looking at. That is really solid, guys. Looks like we're sitting at 60.7 decibels.
This comparison has been full of some surprises, and we've got one last one. The smaller and less powerful HR-V gets worse fuel economy by 2 mpg combined. But now that we've gone through everything, let's return to the price difference and account for that. At a nearly $6,000 delta, that's about 20% of the HR-V's MSRP, so it's certainly a substantial sum. Our scale reflects that and awards 1 point per $1,000 of difference, or 6 points. And that's it for this all-new sibling comparison. I'm sure a lot of people will be walking into their local Honda dealer this year and wondering which of these two redesigned models is the best choice for me. We hope we helped you answer that question for yourself today. And make sure to leave a comment below as to which one you would pick personally. Anyway guys, thanks for joining us for this Car Confections comparison. And be sure to subscribe for more comparisons and our signature full review videos. In particular, we look forward to bringing you guys lots of Honda content, including upcoming videos on the all-new Pilot. When you subscribe, it makes it easier for us to get access to the latest vehicles on the market for you to see. Also give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok as well. Take care and stay safe out there.